Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Water Road podcast. And we're currently moored at Westport Lake in Stoke-on-Trent, so a good 100 odd miles further north from where we left you at the end of the last episode. And the reason we're here is because, as well as moving on to our current boat, we're also having a brand new boat built. And the company that's doing the steel work, so they're building the shell of the boat, is Tim Tyler Boats, and they're based just a couple of miles away from here, over the hill beyond the lake. So what we're going to do is go and visit the shell, because we went about a week ago, and now it's pretty much finished. And we're going to have a word with Tim Tyler, who's building it. Now, he's a pretty well-known boat builder, and he's from a big boat building family, because his brother-in-law, Jonathan Wilson, is also a well-known boat builder. So let's go and have a chat with Tim Tyler. Built our narrowboat, made of steel. So going right back to the start, where does the steel actually come from?
So most of the steel comes from the UK. Occasionally we have stuff in from Holland and Germany, but it's all of a particular standard, the quality that, and the steel stockholders that we buy from are aware that we've got some pretty demanding sort of standards, and so they don't supply us anything that we wouldn't be happy with. So yeah, most of it from the UK though.
And some of those, like the base plate, I mean, they're big pieces, aren't they?
So they are massive, yeah. So we actually have to have that produced specially for us in Holland. And then it comes across on a ship in a big coil, effectively, and then it's decoiled in this country and then cut into 8.5 metre lengths for us. So we just have, normally on most boats, we just have one join in the boat, which gets prepped and welded both sides. But yeah, and we have them slightly wider than most people. So we're building on the Birmingham Square. So just a fraction wider than most narrowboats, but traditional as they were originally done.
So Birmingham Square means that the hull sides are pretty vertical rather than going in.
90 degrees to the base plate, which gives you that little bit of extra room down at sort of foot level, and also a little bit of extra room at shoulder height and head height, because it just allows the hull size being square, allows for us a little bit of extra width in the overall height and top section of the boat.
Obviously, the bow is the thing that people see. How do you get that shape from a piece of steel?
It's a bit of alchemy, really. It is a lovely thing to be able to see come together. So effectively, what you're doing is pulling curves against straight lines, and that creates beautiful curved shapes. And so we've developed a number of styles over the years, but ours is fairly distinctive, and it's that beautiful traditional bow, a bit of belly in it, a bit of shape, bit of curve, and it just accentuates the overall lines of the boats. But it's clever use of curves and straight lines and the pressure between the two, creating those lovely shapes.
And I suppose the other underwater bit is at the stern. People never see that, but that's actually quite important, isn't it, because of the way the boat swims and the way it turns?
Absolutely, yeah. So the length of that swim at the back, at the stern of the boat, and the shape of it will affect how well the boat handles. And so you want plenty of water getting to the prop. You want nice smooth lines that allow for that flow of water. And then the relationship between the propeller and the rudder is important as well, which helps the boat to be easily manoeuvrable, especially when you're perhaps in windy conditions and stuff like that. And reversing as well. I know it sounds crazy, but the boat handles well in reverse, which not all boats do. But again, it's that length of swim, shape, and the draft of the boat all contribute to those good handling qualities.
So where did you learn your craft then?
So I was very fortunate. I met Jonathan when I was just 16, and I was actually going out with his sister at the time, and he was looking for an apprentice. He was looking to go on his own, and we worked over from an old railway sidings in Pipe Gate in Shropshire, and it literally was in the middle of nowhere. We had a barn which we used to house the old trains, the locomotives, and some space outside. So the boat was half in and half out, and we did everything by hand. We had no three-phase power there. We had generators that we had to start every morning. Some of them hand start. It was freezing cold, but that's where I learnt my trade. And initially, I worked nights with Jonathan because he was doing a daytime. He was driving buses during the day, and then he'd pick me up, and then we'd go and build boats at night, which was really interesting. It was pitch black, slightly frightening, but it was a baptism of fire, and I was just amazed at what could be created from bits of flat steel. Just the shapes and I thought like a real thing of beauty from lots of knocking steel about and welding and grinding and sand. But the finished article looked beautiful, and I just got the bug straight away, and still doing it now.
And you're passing on that skill as well to a new generation.
Yeah, so I've had lads working with me who were, when I first started, they were just like young lads in like sort of 7 or 8 years old. But like as the business developed, they joined us when they were 16, 17. So they've been working with me for like 30 years or so now. And now their lads are working for us as well and getting trained. So it is very much a family business, but we're probably on to about the 3rd generation at the moment. And it's lovely to see lads wanting to learn these skills, because it's a difficult, noisy, it's quite a heavy job, but it's also very creative, and to see them enjoy it and learn the trade, it's lovely, really good.
And it seems to me that everyone sort of has their specialities that they're good at or that they specialise in.
Yeah, so you do kind of develop, like, so Sam, for example, Sam Hayward, who was one of the first lads that came and worked for me, he pulls up virtually all the bows. So his level of experience in pulling the bow of the boat is probably unparalleled in the industry. I bet he's done 2,500 bows in his time. You know, it's incredible, really. And so he kind of specialises in that. Our Aaron's very good at all the stern of the boat. I tend to help with putting the cabins on and those, you know, creating the lines. But while we all specialise in particular areas, we can, if needed, fill in and do each other's jobs. So we kind of have a broad approach to the job as well, which is really good because it makes you multi-skilled, you know.
So you've been doing this quite a long time. Any idea how many boats you've built in that time?
So we think roughly 2,500, maybe a little bit more. I mean, we're doing less now. In the boom years, we were doing up to 120 odd shells a year. Now we do about 25, which is a very nice number with a very good team. So like the quality of finish and build, everything is much better, just because you kind of really kind of engage with a really good kind of engaged team that really know what they're doing.
That was Tim Tyler of Tim Tyler Boats. Now, as we're at Westport Lake, I thought I might tell you a bit about the history of it, because it's a really popular place here in Stoke-on-Trent. The car parks have been busy the last couple of days because it's been nice and sunny. There's a cafe here. There's usually an ice cream van in the car park, and there's loads of people just taking a stroll round the lake. You can walk all the way round, and at the other side there are some nature reserve areas as well. But it hasn't always been here. What there was, though, was mining underneath. And it was in 1883 that the workings of the Brown Hills Colliery flooded and the lake began to form. And just a few years later, a chap called Smith Shirley began a pleasure boating business at the lake, and people started coming here to use it for leisure. A little bit later on, around 1900, lots of waste from the potteries round here and the dredgings from the canal were dumped all round the lake to build the banks up a bit. And then it began to decline and fall into disuse, and it was given to the city of Stoke-on-Trent in 1967, and they began to restore it. And in 2009, the visitor centre was built, and it's a quite unique building. It sticks out over a bit of water, and it's on stilts at the front. Quite a dramatic building to look at. And there's all sorts of things here. There's obviously swans and Canada geese, and there are some grey lag geese. And we've heard all kinds of birds here as well. Last night there was an owl hooting. And this is all just in the middle of Stoke-on-Trent, because the A500 is not far away. The main line, the West Coast Main Line railway line, runs along one side of the lake. And there are workings and factories all around the place. And there are some really good moorings on the Trent and Mersey Canal as well, overlooking the lake. Gives you somewhere nice to stop off before either heading into the city itself if you're going south, or tackling Harecastle Tunnel if you're going north. So one of the things down here at Westport Lake is the Green Door project, and Julian, the project coordinator, is with me. So just tell me about Green Door. What are you trying to do?
Hello, yes, Green Door is an accessible charity. We offer accessible activities, which means everything we do is available to everybody. Here at Westport we've got the cycling. It's incredibly popular, as Westport's a very well-used facility. Our aim really is to get people outdoors enjoying things and helping to reduce loneliness and isolation, and basically get people to have a good time. It's about fun really and enjoyment, and the more people that come along, the better it is for us and for Westport.
I've seen quite a few of the different bikes you've got here, so just tell me about some of them.
Well, the most popular ones are the side-by-sides, or companions as we call them, because people can obviously go around with a companion. It enables somebody to come and use our cycles, and they can sit on the passenger side, and as long as their feet touch the pedals, they don't have to do anything. The person on the right-hand side has all the controls, so obviously you've got to have a lot of trust in that person. We've got specifically adapted cycles, or we can adapt them according to people's needs. We've doubled the fleet in the last 3 or 4 years. We've got about 50 pieces of equipment now, so there's plenty to choose from, and we're incredibly popular with people who just drop in because they've come to Westport for recreation. We can book, which is advised because we're so busy, and we have special needs schools and groups, people who come from residential and daycare facilities, and particularly with the time of year we are now and the weather as it is, we're incredibly busy, and it's all down to our volunteers who help it to work. There's 2 members of staff, myself and my colleague Andrew Jones, who's a cycle technician, and together we coordinate about 20 volunteers who come and help us carry out our work. I'd just say specifically, without the volunteers we wouldn't exist basically, so their role is vital.
Because Westport Lake is a really busy place, isn't it? It's a real sort of green lung in the heart of the city, and it's good that anyone can have a go.
Oh yes, it's often referred to as a hidden gem of the city. We're in the midst of industrial here. There's a railway line that runs alongside. There's also a major arterial dual carriageway, and there's lots of industrial. But when you're actually amongst the nature and the wildlife, and you sit and listen, apart from a little bit of white noise in the background, it is an incredibly peaceful place, and it is very popular. People come down here for a walk. They obviously come to hire our bikes. There's a children's playground. There's a lot of very avid photographers that come down here and do wildlife, and of course there's the recently reopened cafe, and they're doing an excellent job.
And that's all for this episode of The Water Road from Westport Lake in Stoke-on-Trent. The podcast is produced and presented by me, Adam Porter. Please follow or subscribe, depending on where you get your podcasts from, so you're alerted to future episodes. And if you could give us a nice review, that will help other people find us. Thank you for listening to The Water Road podcast.